And good morning, Royal We family. I'm so happy that you're here today. If this is your first time joining the Royal We, be sure to subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification so that you don't miss any future Royal We content. Also, visit www.jointheroyalwe.com as this is the official Royal We website. Now, I've already made a video for you talking about what would Jesus do in dealing with narcissists and toxic relationships. And in this video, I'm going to do you one better. What would Jesus say to toxic, narcissistically abusive people? Actually, I'm going to do you one even better than that. What did Jesus say? And yes, thankfully, it has been written what was said to toxic, narcissistically abusive individuals, and we're going to share that in this video. I'm going to read to you the line that Jesus used against toxic, narcissistic abuse, and then we'll talk about what it means for you and for me in dealing with toxic people and narcissists. Beginning right here with this first one, Jesus called the crowd together and said, "Pay attention and try to understand what I mean. The food that you put into your mouth does not make you unclean and unfit to worship God. But the bad words that come out of your mouth make you unclean and unfit to worship God." Boom! How many of you have had experience with toxic narcissists, right? Who cuss at you, curse you, call you names, demean you, devalue you, start fights with you, provoke you, and then they say something like, "I got God on my side. At least I have God on my side. I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray for you." After they cuss you out, how dare them? "I'm going to pray for you. How ignorant you are. You're ignorant and you're toxic and this and that. I'm going to pray for you." As if they have God on their side. Jesus is saying right here, this stuff that comes out of your mouth makes you unclean and unfit to even worship God. The way you treat people is what makes you unclean and unfit to worship God. You can tell your narcissist that. Moving on to the next one. Jesus says, to the Pharisees and the teachers, the narcissists at that time, "You're show-offs. Ooh, and you're in trouble. You wash the outside of your cups and dishes, while the inside there is nothing but greed and selfishness. You're blind. First clean the inside of your cup, and then the outside will be clean also." Have you ever had that situation where you looked and you're maybe at a restaurant and the coffee mug sits down and looks so good, it's got a nice design on the outside, it looks a little washed on the outside, and you go over to lean in and take a drink, and all of a sudden you see a piece of food that's not yours hanging on the edge of that? Ugh! It just makes you want to vomit in your mouth, and you push it away, right? Or getting a fork or a spoon that still has food on it, hasn't been cleaned up. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. This is what Jesus is saying about toxic, narcissistically abusive people. On the outside and from a distance, they look great because narcissists do. Man, they deck themselves out. They decorate themselves in beauty and fashion and grease in their hair and all kinds of makeup and whatever else they're doing. Not just on the physical side, but also with what comes, sometimes their words. They talk about how great they are and all their travels and all their knowledge and all their IQ and all their nonsense is what Jesus is saying. Because once you get close enough to a narcissist and look inside, it's disgusting. Makes you want to puke inside of your mouth. That's what he's saying. You're filthy. You're disgusting on the inside. No matter how you deal with the outside, you're dirty on the inside, and that's gross. That is what Jesus is telling the toxic, narcissistically abusive Pharisees and Sadducees. You and I should be able to say these things too, right? If at least not say them to them, at least know this. Know this in your heart. This is what you're dealing with, right? The next one, Jesus says, "You're like tombs that have been whitewashed. On the outside, you're beautiful, but on the inside, you're full of bones and filth." That is what you're like. Outside, you look good, but inside, you are evil and only pretend to be good. Oh, man. It's just like the cup and the dish, dirty dish principle. He's saying that you look like tombs that are decorated. Have you ever seen a tomb? It's made out of wood and it's shiny on the outside with gold-plated beams and this and that people carry, right? But you go and you dig one of those things up and look inside, and it's nothing but ash and dirt and bones and rotten and smelly stuff that you don't want to stick around. That's what he's saying that narcissists are. Looking good on the outside, but inside it is disgusting and it's dead. There's no life in there. Ugh. Yuck. It's evil. It's only pretend good. Brutal, but I love it. This is definitely not the love everybody. Just go and give them a big hug. Go give that narcissist a big hug. Tell him that you love him. That's not at all what Jesus is showing us here. Go wrap your arms around him and give him a big old love hug and squeeze. No, he's speaking the truth, right? This is great. I'm gonna go on with some more right here. The next one, and Jesus said to them, "If God were your father, you would love me. For I have come here from God. I have not come on my own. God sent me. Why is it that my language is not clear to you? Why aren't you understanding me? It's because you're unable to hear what I say, because you belong to your father, the devil, and you want to carry out your father's desires. He was a murderer from the beginning, not holding to the truth, for there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks his native language, for he is a liar and the father of lies." This is so true. And, because they were questioning whether or not Jesus was of God or they were of God. The Pharisees and the Sadducees and the Narcissists were saying, we're the best. We're the best. We're the godly ones. We have God as our father. And Jesus basically said, listen, if God was your father, you'd be treating me differently. You would recognize me, but you don't. And how many of you want to say that to the narcissists you deal with, who are so hateful and spiteful towards you, but say, oh, we believe in God? No, you don't. If you did, you would treat me as though you did. You would treat me with the love that God has, but you don't. You're not capable of doing that, because narcissists are not capable of doing that. Toxic people are not. Why? Because of the other things that Jesus called out. They're only good on the outside. On the inside, they're dead and filthy. Therefore, they're not of God. They don't have that true, genuine love to give. Instead, they're of their father, the devil. The devil is empty on the inside. The devil is empty, and the father of lies and manipulation and looking good only on the outside. That's the devil right there. The next one, the story of the Canaanite woman. We all know this one. Woman came and cried out, "Lord, help me." And he replied, Jesus said, "It is not right to take the children's bread and toss it to the dogs." Oh, and a lot of people have a problem with this one. Why would Jesus call this woman a dog? Well, you got to understand, the Canaanite people were the vicious group of hostile, aggressive bullies to the Jewish people. They were out there to throw sticks and stones and rocks and curse and try to fight them any chance they got. They were vicious. They were like a pack of dogs. It was a narcissistic community, if you will. And so Jesus and the disciples happening to come across this Canaanite person, look at it from their perspective. They had no idea what they were dealing with. Maybe this woman was trying to set a trap, another trap, one of many that the Canaanite people and their disgustingness were known for, right? Come over here. We want to talk to you. And then ambush them and throw rocks and sticks and leave them half beaten, lying on the ground. They didn't know. So this Canaanite woman is saying, help me, help me. Jesus said exactly what he needed to say. And you can read the rest of the story to see what happens, because Jesus does actually help in love and in giving to this woman. But he proved a point here for you and for me, saying you don't have to give in when toxic, narcissistic, aggressive, bully people are demanding things of your life. Give me, help me. Jesus says, no, don't pay attention to that, because you have no idea what you might be getting yourself into if you just go off and start giving into people's demands, right? Last but not least, save the best one for last here. The Pharisees and the Sadducees come and throw this woman down before Jesus and say, "Teacher, this woman was caught in the act of adultery. Now, the law of Moses says that she should be stoned. What do you say, Jesus?" Jesus knew they were setting him up for a trap, because if he said, "No, don't stone her," they can say, aha, you're against the law of Moses. You are not of God, right? Jesus knew that. So instead, Jesus knelt down and he started writing something in the dirt, And it doesn't say what he had written down in the dirt, but I have an idea. I'm going to share it with you. But as he was writing this down in the dirt, he stood up and said, listen, he who is without any sin here, go ahead and throw the first stone. They heard what he said. They looked at what he wrote in the dirt. They turned around with their heads hanging low, walking away. What did Jesus say? Let him with no sin throw the first stone. That's nothing. That's not that bad. I mean, surely Jesus said worse things to them, and they said worse things to Jesus. Whatever he wrote in the dirt, whatever Jesus wrote in the dirt was so exposing to them that they had to hang their heads, drop their rocks, and leave. What is it? What could it be? I've thought about this, and I think given the situation and the circumstance and what they were angry about, I have an idea. See, they threw a woman before Jesus because she was caught in adultery. And isn't it typical of narcissists that they hate the very thing that they are guilty of? And I believe the thing that Jesus wrote down was possibly a name. And this particular name was the name of a mistress that they all shared in common, or of a person who they have been taking advantage of in an immoral, disgusting, adulterous way. One name. And it's typical when they're in the higher ranks that sometimes these narcissists and higher ups will share a person in that way. Right? It still goes on today, as a matter of fact. And when they saw that name, they looked at it and went, oh no, he knows. It was so gut-wrenching to them that they swallowed their guilt. Oh, okay. Dropped their rocks, turned around and walked away and didn't look back. It's the only thing I could think of powerful enough to make them turn away. Imagine someone writing down a name of something you did something inappropriate to. Just wrote down the name and held it up to you. Boom. Yeah, you know this person? Of course you know this person. Guess what? I know this person too. Oh, man. Boom! Expose it. That's what Jesus did, and that's what Jesus would say. I'm so glad that you watched this. I hope that this encourages you and inspires you. Go no contact, but don't be afraid to expose the truth. Live your life. Continue on your path in this life, and I'll be back with more right here on The Royal We.